Y'all, life, I don't want to say life is lifing. It has, but that's not the purpose of this video. It's more to talk about like where I'm at now versus where I was before when it comes to spirituality and religion. So if you know me in real life, if you've ever followed me on pretty much any social media platform at this point, well, I say minus TikTok, I've always been like the Bible girl, from doing Bible studies and like all these different things, like journaling in my Bible, from beginning to end. I have been that girl. I can get a sermon out of anything, get a message out of anything as well. And for the past couple of years, things have just been changing, but there's been a big pivotal moment in the past like year. And with that, it's been just divorcing religion. And I can't say that I was like super religious, because no, I guess at the end of the day, I technically was. In my opinion, I wasn't. I was about having a relationship with God, and with me having a relationship with God in the way that He spoke to me through visions and dreams, but also it was the Bible. The Bible is how I got to my relationship with God, how I was able to understand and know Jesus and have a personal relationship with Jesus. Christianity in the Bible has taken me like literally through all these different life experiences, and it's helped me been able to find like God in every which way possible in Jesus. And lately it's just not, it hasn't been there for me anymore. Not God, not Jesus, but the Bible hasn't been working for me anymore. I wholeheartedly believe that Christianity works for people. It just no longer works for me, and I'm learning to accept that. And the reason why is I basically feel like I was like in a marriage, right? And it didn't do anything wrong to either one of us. We didn't do anything wrong to each other. It was just like we've just gone separate ways. It's not angry. It's not, I don't have anything bad or bashful to say. There's some things I don't agree with, but I don't have anything bashful to say about Christianity and about me leaving Christianity. I feel like I'm on the outside of religion, and I'm able to have perspective of all, but legit on the outside of religion. I'm still intrigued by religion and other people's religions outside of Christianity, but I just know that it's not something that I would like fully walk into, besides like understanding like the basic fundamentals and like principles that like certain people, certain religions have. I feel like I have a lot of ums because I feel like I'm trying to filter myself, but I don't know why. It has been a very long and hard battle with accepting the fact that Christianity no longer serves me, and that I've moved into something completely different, because I feel like everything that I believe in now kind of goes against what I know Christianity to be a part of. So I believe in your ancestors. I believe in like there are people on the other side that are here to guide you. I believe in having spirit guides. I believe in all these things, and according to Christianity, it says no. According to people in Christianity, it also says no. I love yoga, being with Mother Nature and all those things, and there's nothing with Mother Nature in Christianity, but it is very much so like yoga and other stuff like that. People always say like it's not of God. And so I'm leaving all those things, and all of those things in real life have served and helped me. So yoga has been a big thing since I've moved to, basically before I moved to Texas, and then now being in Texas has been like a great thing to like relieving stress and helping me, so forth like that. And so that goes against what I know people talk about with Christianity. have ever seen anything in the Bible in all the readings that I've done when it comes to Christianity? No, but that's a whole nother conversation for another day. My hope and prayer in this video is that I don't have to cut anything and that I can just go all the way through. So to give you raw and tell you as much as I possibly can and that I feel to share. I have always been in love with and obsessed with other religions outside of just Christianity, to be able to understand like why people chose what they chose and why people, go with what they go with. I feel like some people chose it and some people were birthed into it or born into it. For me, I chose it. I wasn't born into it. I've seen a lot between Christianity, Catholic, Jehovah Witness. Like, I've seen a lot. So it wasn't that I was born into one and I only had to be in one. But it was just like, I feel like I chose it and it chose me because of how I met Jesus. So I started studying theology and like biblical studies and understanding the history of the Bible and how we came about it, Christian Bible. And it started like, I don't want to say opening doors, but just kind of made you go, in the night, basically. The more I started to understand the truth of the original Bibles, because there's so many, and even more like what I've learned to know about Jesus and about his works, and it was nothing to be written. They weren't writing at the time, they were speaking at the time. And so I always say, like, if you think about how amazing Jesus is, God is amazing too, but I'm going to specifically talk about Jesus. If you were to think about how great Jesus truly had to be, of how he could be, I'm in Texas, so for me to be in Dallas and for people to hear in Dallas, specifically where I'm at, right, and to walk or to go to a far place away, I'm going to say like San Antonio or go to Houston or hell, go to New Mexico, and basically said of all the great works that Jesus did, and people came from far and near to be able to hear him. His works were so major and they were so big and they were so grand, of all the great things that Jesus did. It couldn't even physically be put into a Bible because we wouldn't have enough time to be able to read on this earth. The other part is that they just spoke, like he was just so great. They just traveled and they spoke, and so he didn't have anything written. They weren't writing at the time. And I think about how when they did finally people come together and they were writing all the great wonders and works of Jesus and just the Bible in general, from the Old Testament to the New Testament, how you can easily add and subtract things. Even more on top of it, if you look at the King James Bible, they were basically commissioned to come together and put this Bible, and they had a certain amount of time. So you have that. And that is actually, King James is the Bible that I have read my whole time. And I chose specifically King James Bible because my great grandmother, that is how I was told that she learned how to read, and reading was not my strong suit at one point. And so that is how I started to read, and that's why I started with King James. As you continue to go on with different Bibles, right, different versions of the Bible, because there are multiple different versions of the King James Bible, but you have the NIV, you have the ESV, you have those things. There are some verses in the Bible that are not the same in King James. Okay, then there's one, I can't even think of his name, but there was a president who basically he had people come together and write a Bible, or the Bible, and removed words and just like whole certain books and chapters of the Bible because he didn't like the way that it was, and he didn't like the way that it sounded, and it sounded too like harsh, or it was like preaching a wrong version of something that he didn't like. Not a wrong version in general, just something he didn't like. And so the more that I learned and I studied in this class, the more that I learned is that the Bible is something that God is in the Bible, but not all things. Like, there's parts that are missing. And for me, I was trying to go on this journey of understanding all the things that were missing. And the more I come to this point, the more I started reading, the more I started getting into it, and the more I learned that depending on what version of the Bible, even if I'm reading a King James Bible, which version of this King James Bible is going to have the same things. And it's going to have the full truth. And I want the things that are being removed, and you're not going to get that. So I'm not getting Jubilee in there. You can't get it in the Catholic Bible, but you're not going to get it in the Christian Bible. Enoch is not going to be in the Bible at all. All these different things. And so, and I know there are pastors that I have followed that even have their own version of the Bible. And it's not that I'm saying that God did not tell them or something, but in my opinion, I just know that there's some things that can just come up that you just remove, right? And then even more, when I did a really, really, really deep study and learned about the Ethiopian church at one point, I think it was Romans. I know this part is incorrect, but I know that it was in Ethiopia. This gentleman, when they were putting one of the Bibles together, basically had to tell him that he went and told people that they had to take certain things out because it was going to confuse people when they read the Bible, and it was going to confuse people about God and confuse people about Jesus's works and about Jesus. And so they removed things, and they just even said that you had to burn them or put them. Burn them, basically destroy them. And if you did destroy them, basically he was going to kill you. And he did kill people who tried to tell the full truth. And so for me, that is when I started to go down, I would maybe call it a rabbit hole, but I went down this thing of there's more to all of this than meets the eye. And so with that, I just realized okay, we're on to something. And then I started studying more, and I got more and more into it. And I still read the Bible because I knew that God is in the Bible for me, because I read it with the Holy Spirit. And I learned with that is that a lot of us read the Bible to read the Bible. And although it is true, if you read it like a book, you're going to read it like a book, and you're going to hear just exactly that. Versus reading it with God, reading it with the Holy Spirit, you're getting a now word. And so a now word is just for right now in your situation. It's a right now in the season. It's a right now of what's going on, but doesn't mean it's going to be a continuous thing of going on. So what I read today and hear the message today could be something, or is going to be something completely different in a few years from now. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's me taking back and understanding that. Then when it came to me finding churches out here, there were so many different churches that I've never experienced something like that before. And then trying to find that right church that's specifically for me. I eventually did find one. And then COVID happened. When COVID happened, that also when things changed, because everything was very more motivational and inspirational. And I understand because of the times, but I'm a person that is speaking to the moment of what's going on inside of me. If I need to gut something out of me, I'm wanting that type of something word to pull me out. Or if I'm in a place where you can pull me out of a dark, deep hole, or in a place where I just want to be taught. And I realize that there's not that many pastors or ministers or preachers that do that the same. I now have found some, and I still do listen to some from time to time, but the messages just don't hit the same for me. The people who I'm supposed to listen to when I hear that, I definitely do. The other thing, I have tried to force myself in the Bible so much lately, and I mean lately, year or so, and it's literally not there anymore for me. The words don't rise out of the book the way that they used to. And that makes a big difference. And in this moment, I want you guys to know that I just had an aha moment. And hopefully I remember this aha moment for later. I hear people and I listen to people so much talk about the church and how the church is wrong and how these things, and I do believe the church is wrong, but God is not wrong. I believe the people in the church have done wrong things, and a lot of people are manipulators, narcissists, mass narcissists, and they're gaslighting, and they've also helped ruin the church for a lot of people. But I also think about how much this is the church, not God and not the Bible, but people weaponize and use it as such. And it's taken me a long time to understand the difference and just accept it, I guess, it's the same thing. I've learned at the end of the day, people are people, and people have their own agenda, and based off of what has happened in their life, when they read something means completely different. That's why I always say we can all be in the same room, we can hear the same message, but our perspectives based off of the things that have happened, the message is downloaded or interpreted differently. And I've watched people use people for their gifts. I've even had my own gifts being used, and so forth. And now I've had to realize, Sharina, those are people who did you wrong. God didn't do you wrong. And I accept that, and I've moved on from it. It just in life, it can kind of hurt. But when I say that, I realize that people use the Bible out of context a lot of the times. And I have to take a step back when I listen to people, because I can become in a proving wrong state, not an argumentative, but I have time, let's talk about a proving wrong, instead of just okay, cool, whatever. I love having conversations involving around religion and spirituality and just different people's perspective. It doesn't offend me, it doesn't bother me unless you said something crazy. I will say one thing though, with me believing and being in the side of spirituality when it comes to speaking with your ancestors and working with plants and all those other stuff like that, I have had to accept that people are going to say that I either do voodoo or that I am a witch. I'm not, nor do I practice voodoo. What I practice and voodoo are two totally different things, but even then, voodoo doesn't even bother me anymore. Being called a witch, probably, depending on who's saying it, kind of irks my nerves. But now I'm just it is what it is. I had a dream and had a better understanding of what my past life was, and even then, I'd be considered a witch. So it is what it is. I was a healer in my past life. These are other things. Within the realms of, or the box of Christianity, your past life is not something you talk about, and everything is you pray and go on to the Lord and He will heal you. And I do believe that, but I also believe that God can heal you through things. So I have mint and basil, I have rosemary, lavender, so using those things can also heal. And I've learned that people can consider that witchcraft, but we just have to go on to the Lord and just know that God's going to heal us. And I feel like sometimes in those realms, and this is removing myself from religion versus having a relationship with God. Having a relationship with God has allowed, separately, just having a relationship with God has opened my eyes and understanding and perspective of things, and knowing that He's going to heal you through the things that He's created in this earth, right? And I can pray and go to God, but if God is there and He's having a conversation, He's saying, hey, Sharina, use this flower, it's going to help you, that's what I'm going to do instead of other ways. Same thing if you go to a doctor. I'm just going to pray and I'm going to fast and it's going to work. Yes, it can. However, pray and fast and listen that you might need to go to this doctor, and this doctor is going to help you with some form of medicine or some type of treatment that they either have created or so forth. So those things. We talk about ancestors. They always talk about how you shouldn't be having a conversation with the dead and all this other stuff. And I'm just I understand, but I remember when I was in the midst of the beginning, infancy of my walk, Christian walk, I had my great-grandmother come to me and she told me all these things. And I felt wrong because okay, you're not supposed to be able to talk to me because of your familiar spirit, and I don't know what the doors and all these other things. And I've looked at so many other people who have passed away that I personally know, who have come and visit me, and after like 1 or 2 visits, I'm like, you can't visit me anymore, like you have to go. And then I'm just like, but now I'd be like, oh no, baby, come on in, take a seat, like let's relax. How are you doing? How are things? And so I feel like sometimes we close ourselves, and we place ourselves and we place God in a box. And in this, earlier when I was saying, in the moment that I realized I am here to follow God, I am not here to follow religion. And so I am following God, and God has put me or placed me, and I have connection to something that is also still God, but it's extended. It's not what I ever thought of. And that's the difference of having relationship with the Lord versus religion. And I'm okay with that now. I've been battling back and forth. Like, am I going to hell because I've left Christianity? Am I going to hell? Am I going to burn in eternal hell for all these things? Because I still believe hell is real. I still believe heaven is real. So it's like this, like battling back and forth. Like, I know what I know of like the conversations and things that I've studied and all those stuff, but how do I move forward in having this new perspective on spirituality? And I will tell you one thing, and I'm very, very, very thankful that in my walk within Christianity, I've learned so much about the different the kingdom. So like, I've learned and understand about the different levels of heaven, and about spiritual warfare and how to pray and all those things. And no matter what, those things will always still be relevant, because whether or not you believe or not doesn't mean that things don't go on. So whether or not I believe in heaven or hell doesn't make it less real. It's still there. It's just, it's still there. There's not even anything to say. It's just still there. And the same with spiritual warfare, and understanding that you don't wrestle with flesh and blood, but you wrestle against darkness and principalities. Like, there are things that I know that nobody on this God green earth could tell me that is not God and that is not real. There's just things. And those are part of the things about understanding spiritual warfare, and about understanding the water kingdom, and about understanding all these different things and how they move and how they work. Whether or not someone wants to believe what I believe, I'm okay with that, because I think that you have to have your own experience. But I know what is real, and I know what is true when it comes to God, and I know what is real and it comes true when it comes to Jesus. And yeah, we're not moving from that.